Isaiah 29, and you know, I clicked something away. I don't. That's just horrible. Anyway, man. So Isaiah chapter 29, verse. Let me hit up the pace. Now it says here 15. Woe unto them that seek to hide their counsel from Yahweh, and their works are in the dark. And they say, who seeth us and who knoweth us? Those are the wicked Jacob descendants that be doing little sneaky deals. They make a covenant with death, which is Esau. You know, you can put the other nations up in there too, especially Esau. But in this case, I'm going to talk about Jacob, because those are the ones that love to make deals with Esau. You know, their covenant with death shall be annulled, and then the Most High is going to set them up against you. They're going to turn against you, because that's in their nature to do that in the first place. You know, he that pleaseth the Most High, he maketh his enemy be at peace with him. Well, we're not pleasing the Most High, but he's making the enemy be at peace with the Jacob descendants, because he wants to seal that 144,000. Once he seals the 144,000, then the destruction shall come. It's already gradually leading toward it, because, like I said, there's more and more the mannerisms of the fightings that they had in Korea. Look, if you see the documentary, then you really be like, I didn't know that. You know? Then you really be like, oh, so that's what's happening here. They have been doing that, manufactured wars against one another. They have been doing that since 2014 over there in Korea, man. They've been doing that. Actually, before that, actually. They've been doing it in Thailand, Vietnam. Look, Asia is basically a model for what Esau wants to do, Amalek. For what Amalek and higher Esau wants to do to the average Edomites, middle class, even high class. Because the elite Edomites, they're not down with the high class neither. They're not really down with them. You know, they want to snuff them out too, or make them workers for them. You know, they're not about sharing the wealth. They're about using the wealth to basically subdue and oppress all the souls upon the planet Earth. You know, that's their mission. That's why it was created. And then therefore, Yahweh Bashem Yahshai is going to take them out, as in Obadiah chapter 1 verse 18. That type of takeout. And then there will be no more. So Isaiah 29:16, surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. So the things that are upside down, those are the things that are actually being esteemed. Like a potter, his clay that he made in the museum, and now it's in the museum, and it's worth like what, 15 to 60 million for a pot of fucking dirt, like a pot of clay. You know, that thing is esteemed. It's clay. It's not gold. It's not silver. It's nothing. It's literally clay, and then the person made it and painted on it and stuff like that, and now it's worth $65 million. You got to be shitting gold if that's what your shit is worth. That's basically shit. People that shit gold, only those, when they touch something, it turns valuable. Fuck out of here, man. That don't happen. It's people did that. You know, how could a vase be $65 million? It's nothing. But anyway, the Most High said, those are the things that are being exalted, so esteemed. Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. So the things that are turned upside down, those are the things that are esteemed. Sodomites, let me see, women above men, all that type of shit. These are the things that are being pushed. And you have to understand, it's Esau doing it. Because I was watching this documentary today, by the way, before I came here. Then I was watching this Korean documentary, right, where the guy, I'm gonna put the link in the description box so you can see what I was seeing. The guy was talking about and explaining that, you know, the women over there, you know, they don't have the rights as how they have in America and all that type of stuff, right? But that just should show you that, wait a minute, so you need a man to come up for you, to step up for you, in order to fight for you, in order for you to get that. But it's self-explanatory. I don't need to actually explain that, but you do need to explain it to them, because they don't know. They think they can get that freedom off of themselves. Fighting for equal pay, they ain't getting none. Boy, it's a brute shit over there what they're doing to these women, but I don't give a shit. But the point is that this should show you what these what the men are doing. The men are the one that is actually giving them rights, and the men are the one that are actually taking them rights. So guess what? Who's actually doing it? So guess what? Who's actually doing it? It's the men. And that's one of the reasons why the Korean females, Chinese, Japanese, they go to the Edomite. Because Esau gives them more freedom. Like I said, I'm going to show the documentary so you can see. And this is coming here because the women over here, they slowly but surely getting tired of Esau too. So what does it all go back to? It goes back to Deuteronomy 28, which says the woman that is with, in thy bosom shall hate, the husband shall hate you, right? That's Deuteronomy 28. And then you have another one, which is Deuteronomy chapter 30 verse 7, which saith, all these curses that come upon us will I put upon thy enemies and on them that hate thee. It is beautiful to see Moab struggling, can't keep his women. It's beautiful to see Ammon struggling, can't keep his women. It's just beautiful to see, man. Just looking at it, be like, man, the Most High sure is great. That's what he's doing it to them, man. And you know what the funny thing is? The Most High is putting it in the minds of the kings, and they're doing it. It's a whole system. If you look at it, it's actually Moab doing it to his own people, and Ammon doing it to his own people, And what they're doing is, they're slowly thinning out the undesirables, the ones that they don't want. Esau is doing the same thing over here, Esau's doing the same thing over here. He's thinning out the undesirable Edomites, the average ones. He's going to there's a lot of villages and towns in the Netherlands where there's only Edomites. There is not one other nation in their midst. But what is Esau doing? He is making people from Syria come over here, and then he's putting them there. Boy, they are fighting, man. They're protesting there, but they can't stop Esau, man. They can't stop him, because if they make it too violent, Esau is gonna be he's gonna have the right to come and show them what a gummy bear look like. That gummy stick shit. He's gonna show them. He's gonna blast them with water. You can't stop Esau. Just like how you couldn't stop Pharaoh back in the days. He's too powerful because they got money now. So they got people that willing. He got people that are willing to work for him for money. Those are the police officers. Those are militaries and stuff like that. He set it up to where he dangles, benefits in front of you, and money, of course, and just a better life and all that. But all you have to do is give up your body and do what I tell you to do. When I call you, like, hey, go pick such a person up, because he's standing here protesting in front of the house, and get rid of him. Because what did the farmers do? The farmers went to the politicians, their houses, and started protesting there. They made us, because the farmers, they was protesting in the middle of the street, blocking the fucking street for every average person upon the planet of that, that is not the cause of their sufferings. So they took it to the politicians themselves. Well, they stopped that day. You don't hear them no more. Why? Because once you start messing with them like they're puppets, then they got to come up for their puppets, man. And so they got to protect their puppets, because their puppets are the ones that are actually the forefront mouthpiece of them. They're the ones that actually set up them laws. You got them politicians that they pay, and they are the ones that actually do it. So now when you're angry and frustrated, you target them. Just like the Microsoft. People don't think Microsoft is a company, but people don't see anybody else, but they focus on one person, Bill Gates. That's because he's the face. That's the same thing with a politician. They got a whole business company, they got a whole factory behind them, but the only one that you see is Bill Gates or that individual politician. You know? But anyway, and that's their whole setup that's actually being exposed, because the Most High said in the Obadiah chapter 1, it says that who shall search the things of Esau out? Who shall search him out? The Most High. And the Most High is going to expose it to the Jacob descendants, and then they are going to expose it to the rest of the Jacob descendants, you know? In order to make them understand, like, oh, so this is the society that we're living in, because you're living in a la la land, like an illusion, like a fade, like the Matrix even, just like that movie. You're living in a fake world that's all set up by just fakeness. But once you get the truth of Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, then you start seeing everybody and the entire world totally different, because you start looking at, oh, so this is how the system works. Who shall search out the things of Esau? The Most High is going to search them out and then give it unto his men. Right? And they're going to give it unto the rest of the men of Yahweh. But there's only a small portion of the Jacob descendants that are going to get it. Isaiah 29 and 17. Oh, the rest of 16. Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter his clay. Potter's clay, but I said potter his clay. For shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not? For example, a sodomite, he thinks that the Most High didn't make him. He made him wrong. You know, I'm supposed to be a woman. No, you got spirits on you. Romans chapter 1 shows that. Right? The Most High didn't make a mistake. He actually is punishing you right now. And you're so stupid you don't see it as a punishment until you leave America. Or until you leave the European countries, certain European countries. If you go to the east of Europe, don't try to be a flamboyant sodomite over there, because the Edomites over there, they're going to try to hurt you. They're going to look at Ukraine. Google it, what they used to do to them in Ukraine. So that whole war in Ukraine is also, it's a setup. It's some bullshit's going on. You know, anyway. Because they was highly against Amalek over there. You don't believe it? I did videos showing you how Ukraine used to be. Everyone in the media hated them. And then all of a sudden they changed. Let me put that in the description box. You're going to see all the news articles of Ukraine before the war. The Western media, they hated Ukraine before that Kremlin thing. Kremlin, not this one. Kremlin. Oh no. So what am I talking about? Kremlin is Kremlin, and Ukraine is Ukraine. I'm mixing two things with each other. But before the war in Ukraine, they used to hate it, and now they love it. Why? Well, the article is going to show you itself. Let the Edomites themselves show you what's going down, how they switched. It shows you that the media before was not backed up by Amalek, but the one afterward, Amalek starting to get up in there, just like with the Pfizer thing. This news thing is sponsored by Pfizer. That's what was going on, because they got their money. Esau got trillions. When the Edomites, right, that hate the movies and stuff like that, when they say, when Hollywood goes woke, they go broke, right? You can't go broke with trillions, kid. They got trillions. Their system is to breed you out, because you're gonna get old and die, and then your kids are gonna be trained, and before you know it, your kids are gonna fight you. That's Esau. He is the systematic, I'm gonna knock you off your spot. That's what they do by lying to you, deceiving, tricking. And they're using the school system to indoctrinate the children, and them children are gonna grow up and fight you. When the Edomites say go woke, go broke, I'm laughing at them. These people got trillions. They infest money. You can get angry at the movies, what they're doing. The Star Wars, they put a Jacob in there. They put a bunch of women up in there and stuff. And then the Edomites, they lose their fucking minds. But the elites are not worried if they're not actually bringing in money in the cash thing, whatever they call that thing, box office, yeah. They don't care if it's not a hit. They know that it's going to cause division, because the younger girls are gonna see, the Edomite females are gonna see that this goes all back into, not all back, but it also goes into Deuteronomy 28, where you have the Jacob women fighting against the Jacob men. That curse. This goes all into that, not all, but this goes also into that curse. And then they're gonna grow up, and then they're gonna resent you. They're gonna hate you. You Edomite males, because you're fighting against what they perceive as their liberty. And therefore, there's a war. And that has been happening in Korea since 2013, 12, and stuff like that. 2014, that's when the trouble started coming online, and it burst. Because some Korean guy murdered a Korean female or something like that in 2014. And since then, that whole thing started, that war was on, man. You know? And he explains why he killed her too. He stabbed her. Because he hates women. Because they ain't getting no pussy. The women be blocking pussy from them. And they lose their fucking mind. Some people, they put vagina really high. So for example, if you don't put it high, they might say, oh, you're jealous and but you're looking at them like, a person that calls you jealous for that, right, is this. He himself thinks very highly of the thing. So when you don't think highly of that same thing, you just, then if you tell him something like, hey, that shit ain't worth for something like that, you know, chasing bitches, he'd be like, oh, you're jealous. You're just jealous because I get more pussy than you. I got more money than you. See, it's the stuff like that. Like, I got more cars than you. I'm looking at you like, right. So you think I put cars high? You think I put money high? You think I put women high? Yes, because that's what they put high. And then therefore they want to apply those mindsets toward everybody else that is either against what they're doing or not into their shit. You know? Right. You know, people, for example, people that say stuff like, oh yeah, I got some guy came to my page the other day, later on that day. Anyway, somebody came to my page the other day, and he said like, yeah man, you doing hour-long videos and nobody's watching. Second Ezra chapter 8, verse 1, 2, 3, and jumping down to verse 41 is what I put for him. And he shut the fuck up. Like, I'm not here to gather as many as possible. Are you stupid? Why would I do that? Why would I do that to myself? What do you think? This is some kind of Edomite church? Everybody is invited? And he was a so-called Christian himself. I said so-called because, you know. And, oh yeah, I also put Matthew 22 and 14, which is talking about that, and the many are called but few are chosen. So what makes you think that I'm supposed to have a gathering of like 144,000 people? What makes you think that I'm striving toward that? I'm actively not striving toward that because I know that ain't real. And loose from that, I don't want you to make it. Yahweh said, give not thy pearls unto swine and dog. You know what that translates into? Block them. Don't help them. Let them fall. Do it on purpose. Shut your mouth. Don't share nothing with them. Don't give them bread. Close thy fist from giving them bread. Don't feed them. Because if you start talking to them, well, they might turn around and rent you. That also. But I think it was what Matthew 13 explains to you that if they convert, then he has to heal them. He don't want to do that. He don't want to do that. So I don't want to do that neither. I'm not talking to you. You talking to me? I'm talking to myself, which I always do. And if the others listen, then it's cool, cat. But I'm not talking to certain people, trying to gather a crowd and stuff like that. But anyway, the reason he did that is because he sees it high, having many views and stuff. Like, he sees it as something to glory. That shows you that his priorities are different. I don't see that as something to be proud of. If I would have a lot of views, I'd start to get nervous. Because thinking like, hey, wait a minute. Broad is the way to destruction, right? Anyway, let me go on. Now it says right here on for shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not? Or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he had no understanding? Yeah, he didn't understand that that he wanted to be a woman. Basically, is what certain dudes say. Like the Most High didn't understand him, that's why he made him and not a her. You know, the Lord has no understanding. That's what they say. You know, people like that. I use that as an example because that's a great example to use of Edomites, even Jacob descendants that are in this world that are. They think that what they have is actually they're not supposed to. This is the whole thing with the women thing. The Edomites, they're actually angry that their females don't want to submit to them. Because now they're free, they don't need them. They got money. They can go wherever they want and do whatever they want. Do certain things that normally she wouldn't be able to do it. You know, once you start giving these Edomite females freedom, they're gonna pick a jig. Because then they have nothing to lose anymore. Like they don't lose the money, they don't lose the status, nothing. They want to be happy. I'm not saying I'm pushing it. I'm giving you an example. I could talk about the Korean females, Vietnam. I got another video also, Vietnam too. Once the women start getting that money and stuff like that, they don't need the men no more. They leave it. They start to pick what they want. I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm just saying that that's what they're doing, and the men are angry. Vietnam angry, Korea angry, China angry, Japan angry. But that's a preview of what's gonna come here. It's already here to a certain degree, but more so America and England. America and England are actually the frontline soldiers of the preview that Amalek and Higher Esau already set up in Moab and Ammon land. And Japheth. Don't forget Japheth. Let me go on. Let me see what time it is. Okay, cool. So it says Isaiah. I keep on talking all through, like different things. But anyway, let me go on. So it says here, Isaiah 29 and 17. Yeah. It says right here, is it not yet for a very little while, and Lebanon shall be turned into a fruitful field, and the fruitful field shall be esteemed as a forest. Basically, it's going to multiply. Verse 18. And in the day shall the deaf hear the words of the book, and the eyes of the blind shall see out of obscurity and out of darkness. So the point is that there will come a time where you have the deaf jakes that don't want to listen to this word. You might have deaf in the physical form, but the deaf jakes that are living in darkness and don't want to hear this word, all of a sudden they're going to start paying attention like, you know what, I don't know, man. The Spirit, the Most High is going to put that Spirit on them to where they're going to be interested in what you say. And the blind Jacob descendants, they're going to wake up and realize how blind they have been following Esau's doctrine, man. I know a few people. It's not too many of them, but, you know. You got idiots that came into this truth. There's a scripture. I'm still looking for it. There's a scripture that actually says they are waking up just to be destroyed. So the Most High brought you in this truth just to destroy you and get rid of you so that you could fall off and stuff like that. And if you think that's far-fetched, read the book of 1 Kings 22, where the Most High actively told the angels, like, who can make Ahab go to Ramoth Gilead and fall? Who can persuade Ahab that he would go up to Ramoth Gilead and fall in the war? You know, and the angel came, and the other angel said this, and then another spirit came, which was an angel, and he said, I'm going to do it in this manner. I'm going to be a lying tongue in the mouth of all these his prophets. But anyway, that's one. There's another scripture, of course, Isaiah 66:4, if I'm correct, where it speaks of, I will choose their delusion, not that one. There's specifically, I can't find it. There's specifically one that goes into they were just woken up to come in this truth just so the Most High can destroy them harder. So that they really finna get it. Because once you are enlightened and then fall out this truth, you're gonna be worse off. It is said in the scripture, it is better that they would have not known the truth than when they have known the truth and then fell off. So the Most High really want to get certain people, bring you in, just to make you fall harder. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. The higher they are, the more hurtful they fall. Kids fall all the time. Why don't you be a grown-up and then fall, see how much it hurts compared to the children? Because the child is already near the ground. And their bodies work different. Their bones are not that hardened. The older you get, the harder your bones become. It's more brittle actually, but they start to get harder. And then when you fall, you're gonna hurt yourself. What? You know? But the child, you see him falling and they spine. Yeah, man, I see children falling in magnificent ways. Not really, except for the crying. Not really a massive danger. You know, their spine and be like, God damn, what the fuck? You know? But when you see them grown-ups falling, God damn. They're breaking spine, bones, that type of shit. But anyway, so Isaiah 29 and 18. No? Yeah. No, 19. The meek also shall increase their joy in Yahweh, and the poor among men shall rejoice in the Holy One of Israel. So guess what? The meek of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, those are the ones that are actually going to do good in the time that's coming now concerning the famine, the orchestrated famine that's going to be set up upon the world by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai through Amalek and higher Esau. And that famine is going to come upon the planet Earth. And the Jacob, well, in the West, it's already there. Like I said, I'm going to show you the boy, a lot of Koreans can't even buy food, man. They live in it. Look. You have in China, right, what they call, I've been talking about this for longer than 6-7 years or something like that. I'm not even sure, but I think it's 6-7 years. I'm not sure. Okay. Cage homes. These are buildings, right? These are just buildings, like projects, right? But within them buildings, you have rooms, you know? Okay, so what does Upper Moab do? He rents a room, one room, which can house a whole family of maybe 3 people. And he rents the whole room, right? And then he put dog cages all throughout the house, right? Dog cages. Like for dogs, right? And then he charges them. He charges them $300. He charges them $300 for a dog house. I'm not making this up. I have, like I said, I'm gonna put the documentary. Boy, this is what you see in Hong Kong, right? $300 for this, or something with 100. Watch the documentary, it's gonna show you. Because this Edomite guy went over there and they can't stop him. Boy, if you was in China and you brought this thing out, boy, you'd be missing. But this Edomite guy, he brought it out. He went to China, he went into the houses. You see him, you can follow him around with the camera. He went into the houses, but he's tall. Well, he's not that tall. But, you know, the Moabite people are small by nature. But anyway, he couldn't fit. They got them living in dog houses, man. In the so-called most expensive, most advanced, futuristic place, according to them. They're lying to you, to their fucking teeth. Esau, Koreans and Japanese are just like Esau. The shit that they do. You know them stupid things, putting nooses in the toilet and stuff like that. Well, them Koreans doing it with their women. They do shit, you know, those type of so-called bully tactics and stuff like that, and sorority or something like that. those type of things, you know. And, they do those type of things. Oh, well, like I said, watch the documentary. They do those things with their women. That showed me like, no man, Moab and Esau and Ammon are just like Esau, you know. Like these mean-spirited, demonic creatures that just do shit that has no fucking reason why you should do that, other than they're evil. Anyway, this, right? That's their houses, and Koreans are doing the same thing, but the difference with the Koreans is they have like a one literally bedroom. No, literally bedroom, meaning only the bed fits. It's fucking funny. It's actually funny. Only the bed fits in the room. And these are the people that actually, you know, they spit on Jake, man. They talk mad dog shit, man. They like Zephaniah chapter 2. It says that you have reviled the sons of Jacob. You have reviled my people. They boastingly talk over us, man, about us, above us, all that type of shit, man. But they can't even afford a bedroom. Like, you know how broad a bed is, a one-person bed? That's what they have in their house, man. That's their house. That's their entire house. That's how broad their house is, man. One bed. Anyway. That's how broad their house is. One bed broad. On one person's bed, by the way. No bathroom. They got the shit. That's what I'm telling you, man. Like these people that think they above Jake. I'm looking at you like, man, I know what's happening in your country like that, man. Get out of here. Mocking them. Anyway, Isaiah 29 and let me see. 19. The meek also shall increase their joy in Yahweh, and the poor men shall rejoice in the Holy One of Israel. For the terrible one is brought to naught, and the scorner is consumed. All that shit talking. Most High is going to evaporate you. And all that watch for iniquity are cut off. Esau is the one that watched for iniquity, but the leaders of Moab and Ammon too. Boy, they setting up iniquity, boy. If, like I said, just watch them. Watch the documentaries. You will see, like, no, it's them. They're doing it. It's the elites of Esau, the elites of Moab, the elites of Ammon. They're all collectively doing that shit, man, onto the average people. Because behind the scene, they're confederate with one another, but it seems like they're fighting amongst each other, which sometimes they are, but they're fighting for position and money. Just like how politicians are. They're not fighting each other, but they're fighting each other. I don't know how to explain it. Look, they're all in cahoots with each other, right? But that doesn't mean that they don't argue amongst each other concerning the power system. Like, no, I want to rule here. No, it was given unto me. No, but I'm more capable of doing it because I saw your last work. And it was shit. And so they start fighting each other, right? So that's what's happening all over the world, man. These heathen nations, they are in cahoots with each other, but amongst themselves, they're fighting. So, the Most High is going to cut them off. 21. That made a man an offender for a word. They want to lock you up for a word. And that's what Moab is doing. If you say any... I think it's funny because I've seen a lot of shit happening over there. But when the Edomites go over there, they say what they want. They ain't doing nothing. Because they're afraid. Because they know, like, if you touch one Esau, it's king. 7 more troubles is going to come upon you, so they let them. And then the Edomites go around, or they block them from coming there with the filming and stuff. Like, go away. They can't film, you know, and then they're being followed. And I saw, man, they're being followed, you know, that they can't go in certain regions and stuff like that. But Esau, he's like this criminal. He wants to break the law, their law. So he sneaks in and gets people from that land in trouble. I saw that too. He's a funny creature, boy. If he wants to really make a bad documentary about you, he's going to succeed. He's really good at slandering. And that's not a good spirit, actually. That's not good, but he does it. Esau is a master of disaster. a deceiver at heart. Anyway, so that make a man an offender for a word, and lay a snare for him that reprove it in the gate. Right? And turn aside the just from a thing of north. So, that's Esau's doing it, man. You know? And by the way, Ishmael is the same thing too. They just like them too. You know? Because I got another documentary that you should watch. I was just thinking about it. It's a documentary on what they're, on what they're doing in Ishmael land over there, Dubai. I'm telling you, man, Edomites are sneaking into the land, and they can't go back, by the way, because if they, you know what they're gonna do, they're gonna get angry, you know. But they can't go back, especially like them Arabs and stuff like that, right? You have people that go over there and they film, and they show you how fucking nothing that place actually really is. And same thing with Moab. The point of me talking about all this is to show you that all these countries are crumbling. The Jacob descent now is our salvation nearer than when we believe. All these nations are falling bit by bit, and it's beautiful to see. Blessed is he to see the fall of his enemy. I know it says happy, but it's a blessing to see the fall of your enemy, and to see it working piece by piece and step by step, you know? Because like I said, maybe 10 years ago, he didn't see that average Edomites were struggling with food. You know, they have like lines, here, I'm talking about here in the Netherlands, they had lines of food being handed out to them and stuff like that, you know? That's what's happening to them. And it's getting bigger. Here in the Netherlands. You know? These are them average Edomites that the government is screwing them over. Walk up 22. So Isaiah 22 and 29 and 22. Therefore thus saith Yahweh, who redeemed Abraham concerning the house of Jacob. Jacob shall not now be ashamed, neither shall his face now backspill. Which goes into basically the Most High is not gonna, how you call that thing? Abandon us. He's not gonna abandon Jacob. He's gonna stay with Jacob even during all this turmoil and destruction and just madness. Because I was talking to this person, right? And I was giving them all this bad news. This dude, and that girl too, that was with him. They start to get afraid, man. Like, you know, they had no comfort within them. Like, what we gonna do? They start panicking. But the Most High said, like, hey, let the Most High be your comfort, you know? Because they don't believe in, well, I shouldn't say believe, sorry, I made a mistake. They don't know about Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. They just have been told. And they see all the turmoil that's coming, but they don't know the good. Because I didn't get to that part yet. And they already started flipping like, oh man, what was me? Basically, what was me in those days? What am I finna do? And that's where I'm supposed to actually comfort them and start get up in the scriptures. Like, no, I'm gonna show you the good side of the scriptures, you know, because the other side made them afraid, man. Made them afraid and start panicking, don't know what to do, start hoarding stuff like buying food and. Don't worry about that, man. 2 Kings 17, here you go. Don't worry, the Most High is going to have birds, you know, feed you. And fishes jump out the water when you walk by, smack you in the face. And then when somebody else throws a net, nothing. They actively avoid that place on purpose. Because the Most High is going to put that spirit on them animals to just, man, leave. You know, just leave. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody getting fed today. Not off of me. Is what the fish is going to be saying, fleeing, you know, even insects that they can't eat insects, they're going to flee. Most High could do all these things, boy. You can make birds not show up, because you're going to have people trying to shoot birds out the air just to feed themselves off of the famine that's going to come. But Most High is going to make it to where them birds might be doing some matrix dodging. I can't get them. Yeah, Most High is with them. The bird's about to bring some food to you. You know, I'm just giving you an example. I'm just giving you examples and stuff like that of what the Most High is capable of doing, and He's going to do stuff. You know what I'm saying? So let me finish it off. So Isaiah 29 and let me see, 23. But when he seeth his children, the work of his when he seeth his children, the work of mine hands, in the midst of him, They shall sanctify my name, and sanctify the Holy One of Jacob, and shall fear Yahweh, the power of Israel. Right? The power of Jacob. 24. They also that err in spirit shall come to understanding, and they that murmur shall learn doctrine. A lot of people that were bitching and complaining when I talk, they start shutting the fuck up and start listening more, and start, be like, yeah, okay. Because you have people that, when you come up with scriptures, they love to say, yo, that's your interpretation. Yeah, whatever. And you believe in flying fucking reindeers, right? But you don't, that's not their interpretation, right? Bunnies laying eggs, right? That's not their interpretation, right? Is that shit real? Is that shit real? Why don't you question it? Because Esau's pee-pee is in their mouth, that's why. And they love it so. So, they don't question Esau, man. That's why you gotta watch out who you're actually dealing with. You say one time, we'll say one thing one time, and then I know. Like, okay, cool. Maybe later they're gonna change, I don't know. But for now, get out of here. Or I'll get out of here. You don't have to leave, I'll leave. And I'm not going to people. It's just people, well, if they ask you. Not all the time I'm saying it. Sometimes I go up in it, and then I found out, like, oh, this one is on Esau's side. Right. And then the funniest thing I say is like, how come you don't question the flying reindeer theory? Yeah, you know it's real, you know it's fake, but why don't you question them? But with me, you question. You're supposed to question, but then you're supposed to question them too. You don't. You just swallow it up. Well, let me leave you with one scripture. Right, this is 1 Corinthians. What was it again? First Corinthians, 2 Corinthians. What? It is 2 Corinthians. 2 Corinthians 11, right? So it says 20. So 2 Corinthians 11 and 20. But for ye suffer if a man, for ye suffer if a man bring you into bondage, you take it. If a man devour you, you suffer it too. If a man take of you, you suffer it. If a man, let me read what it says, then I'm going to talk. So 2 Corinthians 11 and 20. 2 Corinthians 11, 20, right? So it says, for ye suffer if a man bring you into bondage, if a man devour you, if a man take of you, if a man exalt himself, if a man smite you on the face, right? So our people suffer that, right? God damn, it's fucking close. Let me read it now again. For ye suffer if a man bring you into bondage. You basically accept, you tolerate it. You tolerate that Esau put your ass in chains and still talking mad greasy dog shit until this day, right? You suffer it, you tolerate it, but you can't tolerate a Jake that stepped on your shoe by accident and stuff like that, or just looked at you in your eye, you're scanning and then his eye met your eyes. Now you're locked like two fucking cobras or some shit like that, just doing a death stare. Trying to make another man blink. Anyway, so it says, if a man bring you into bondage, if a man devour you, Esau been devouring you, snuffing you out on a traffic stop, 50 bullets, or just other things. They're snuffing you out, they devour you, they take all your talent and copyright that shit, so you can't reuse it. Dave Chappelle can't use his own name. The Chappelle Show, he can't, because they copyrighted his shit. I'm using him for an example, because they did it with every other artist, loose from Dave Chappelle too. Music, athletes, they make, my boy, you just run and give it your all. And then the brain injury started to come out. And in the beginning, they wanted to dismiss those findings. But they already knew it, that's why they dismissed it. But then, that guy came, I think Will Smith played his role. Not I think, he did it, yeah. Will Smith played that movie, that actor, but those type of things. Basically, you're suffering bodily, and then he's making billions. That is devour. You're devoured. You're a sheep. You're being sheared. And then they take your wool and then they make warm, beautiful clothing for themselves. But then you shivering. The sheep is shivering. Hey man, can I have a coat? Nope. Grow your own coat. I can't. I need a few weeks and months. And I also need food just to get the nutrients and stuff like that. So I can grow the fur or the wool, the sheep wool and stuff like that. Guess what? They ain't helping. Because they got what they want. Now they go to the next Jacob descendant that has the wool. And they shear him too, or her. It depends on the type, the talent that you have, right? They're going to shear you. And you standing still, thinking you're going to be famous. Just like TLC, you're going to be famous and broke compared to what you're actually supposed to get. They had like a few dollars to their name on. But that's how Esau's devouring us. Yeah? Anyway, going on. If a man take of you, is the same kind of thing. Take your stuff, take your talent, take your gift, and then make money off of your likeness, because you signed that contract. But they took your shit. They take your kids too. If a man exalt himself, 1/5 of a man, what more? You know how many exaltations that they put upon us? Even Moab and Ammon. Yeah? They exalt Ishmael. They all exalt themselves above us. And you tolerate that shit. Right? Yeah, you tolerate that shit. But if a Jacob descendant come and says like, hey, hey, what the fuck you think you are? You think you're better than me? He's actually trying to tell you like, why you hanging around that guy's wife for? You think you're better than me? But this motherfucker think you're better than me. Anyway, if a man smites you on the face, yeah, a Jake can't even look at another Jake. Not all the time. Lord willing, not all the time. Because I know here, like, I've seen certain Jakes, they want to do a staring fucking contest. But not often. Most of the time, let me not jinx myself, like, maybe the most I'd be like, and I don't mean jinx as in stupid bullshit. I say what I say. But I know what I mean. It's like, for example, back in the days, right? If I told a person like, yo, I'm finna go get this girl, man, I said that, it never happened. Something happens, so I learned how to shut the fuck up, and then stuff started to work out. Or if I say like, hey, this time I'm gonna get some whatever. If I say it, something happens to where it doesn't happen. I'll be like, hey, what the fuck? And if I shut my mouth and not say anything, everything goes better. So, learn not to talk about yourself too much on personal type of thing. Whatever you get it on your own. Like, don't let nobody know. It's not good. Anyway, yeah, so that's it. So hey, so with that, I'm gonna give all praises to the Most High Yahweh. Double honor unto the elder apostles and great millstone for the teachings of the scriptures, among other things. And shalom to the sincere Akim across the world. Shalom.